If it was me, I would have just bought him the cake. It's your kid's birthday, you should make it special, and who cares if the cake has dairy or milk or egg. Buying a cake that comes from the exploitation or is involved with the exploitation of animals like cows and chicken, it's not worth their livelihood, their life, their rights, their bodily autonomy to say, oh, who cares? It's your son and he's more important, and it's just a cake, because to you, it's just a cake. Hey everyone, so welcome back to The Vegan Perspective. I know it's been a while, but I've been a little distracted with some things going on in life. I did recently visit my son for his 6th birthday, and something happened that I thought, it'd be interesting to actually kind of talk about. So since I've gotten back, I've kind of been thinking about it, and I thought maybe, this might be a good conversation for people who are vegan parents.
Vegan. I'm a vegan.
Or maybe if you're not vegan and you are considering, what you feed to your kids, and maybe you want to have a conversation with your children about food, or maybe you've said some of the things that I'm going to talk about today and it kind of rings true to you, and hopefully some of the things that I point out maybe will help convince you, that even though you have children, that, you should consider taking the moral position when it comes to what you feed your kids and what you feed yourself.
They were so convincing in their argument, they swung me.
Yeah, so I went to visit my son for his birthday, and it was me and my partner, and my mother was there as well. And, we were only there for a weekend because, he lives across the United States, and it can be hard for us to take time off for work and stuff like that. So we were only there for a short time, and we tried to make the best of it, right? We took him to where he wanted to go for his birthday, bought him tons of gifts. He loves Halloween, so we took him to Spirit Halloween, and we bought him all these cool scary masks that he just been wanting, and we spent pretty much the weekend with him. But I was looking into getting him a cake while we were there, but unfortunately the area that they live in and where we were staying, they don't particularly have many bakeries that have vegan cakes. So we actually ended up taking him to get donuts at this place that has vegan donuts. But long story short, the reason why I bring this up is because my mother, who is not vegan, and I understand she's older, and we don't really typically have conversations about veganism like that, because she does live in a different state, and it's not something that usually comes up in conversation. But anyway, we were talking about, oh, did you want to get him a cake? And I was like, I was trying to find him a cake, but it was a little bit tough, so we took him, it's the second best thing, which was getting donuts. And she said, if it was me, I would have just bought him the cake. Not saying if she was me, but saying if she had known, she would have just bought the cake regardless, a non-vegan cake regardless, to just because, oh, it's his birthday, and, it's supposed to be special, and you want him to have a cake. And, I didn't say this to her directly, but, this is something that it's not new to me, and it's not a topic that I'm not familiar with, or I don't have particular feelings about. But I didn't express to her what I was, how I feel about that sort of, I guess, action of, it's your kid's birthday, you should make it special, and who cares if the cake has dairy or milk or eggs or whatever, right? But the way that I see it is, even though we didn't buy him a cake, that idea of, oh, it's my birthday, I should have a cake with candles and all this stuff, that idea never crossed his mind. He wasn't like, oh my god, my birthday is terrible, I didn't get any cake, or I didn't get to blow out candles, which actually, now that I remember, is not true, because when we went out to eat on the day of his birthday, we went to a vegan pizzeria, and they had cakes, and I bought him a double chocolate cake slice, and my partner and my mom surprised me and got him a candle, and we lit it. Well, we tried to light it, but we pretended, because we're in a pizzeria, we can't just bring in candles and stuff. So
Here, use this.
I guess we should have asked. But anyways, the point I was making was that, that idea doesn't even cross the mind of a 6-year-old kid. And regardless of if he didn't have like a big cake for all of us to share, he still had a blast. We took him to everywhere he wanted to go for his birthday. We bought him tons of stuff, all these things that he wanted to do. We took him to a pumpkin patch. The cake was such an insignificant part of his birthday weekend that the idea of, I'm gonna just buy a cake because it's my child and it's his birthday, and who cares if it has dairy, eggs, and milk in it, does not outweigh the fact that he's going to have many, 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 many birthdays He's gonna have so many opportunities to have fun and get presents and do all the activities that he wants, that buying a cake that comes from the exploitation or is involved with the exploitation of animals like cows and chicken, it's not worth their livelihood, their life, their rights, their bodily autonomy to say, oh, who cares? It's your son and he's more important, and you know, it's just a cake. Because to you, it's just a cake, but to that cow or to that chicken, it's their entire livelihood. So I don't think that buying a cake that my son does not even care to think about is worth more than that, plain and simple. So it also brings up a couple other issues with that line of thinking, because if our children knew what it took to get milk from a cow or eggs from a chicken and what those animals went through, I think that they would be perfectly fine with not getting cake, or as easy as just getting something that's vegan. Like I said, we were out already and the place that we were at had vegan cake, vegan slices of cake, and I bought him a cake slice just for him, and me and him shared it and he loved it. It brought me to another conversation which I actually specifically had with my son, because you know, since he was born, for the first 3 years of his life, he was mostly plant-based. I think when he first was born, you know, my partner was a little bit skeptical about giving him soy milk, but we slowly went away from cow's milk baby formula and went to soy, and he was perfectly fine. For the longest time he was vegan, and then, you know, me and my partner split and things happen. I understand. Unfortunately, she was not vegan, so it's probably harder for her to maintain that sort of diet for a child when you are not partaking, especially when you start dating other people, right? You get involved with other people and that person's not vegan, and then you know, maybe you go back to what I would say are bad habits. Obviously I'm a vegan, so I would say eating animals is a bad habit, but so for the longest time, every time I would visit him, my son, and I would ask him things like, oh, you know, you want a hamburger, you want this, you want that, you know, I would buy vegan, obviously. Whenever he was with me, I always buy everything vegan, but I would get him, you know, do you want a cheeseburger? And we would get, you know, Beyond Burger. And he'd always tell me, no, I don't like the meat. I don't like the meat or whatever, right? And I'm like, oh, like, you know, okay, so I guess, you know, we'll get something else. I never thought anything of it. But when we were there this year, we went to a pizza place and I told him, I know how much you love pizza. Luckily, he's like his dad. We both love pizza.
Nice.
So we're gonna get pizza, and this place had chicken nuggets, vegan chicken nuggets, and I think he saw them and he was like, you know, I want chicken nuggets. And I was like, okay, like, well, I don't know if they have, do you want, I think it was that they had chicken tenders or something, or they looked a little bit different. You know, they don't look like McDonald's chicken nuggets, right? They just look a little bit different. So he told me, he's like, oh, I don't like chicken because it looks like, what I assumed he was trying to tell me was he didn't like chicken tenders or chicken because it looked like animal flesh. And I was like, you know, well, I'm glad that you say that, because dad is the same way. You know, I don't eat chicken because I don't want to eat, you know, a chicken. And he was like, oh, but you're eating chicken now. You bought chicken nuggets. And I told him, well, these are vegan chicken nuggets. You know, they don't come from chicken. They come from plants. And he's like, oh, well, why do they call it chicken? And I tried to explain to him, oh, you know, because, you know, when we go through our, you know, when you grow up and you've been eating chicken for so long, and then you realize that you don't want to eat chickens because they come from chickens, some places will sell chicken nuggets that's made from plants for people who still love chicken nuggets but don't want to eat chicken nuggets that come from chicken. And I explained to him, you know, that's what vegan is. That's why dad is vegan, because I don't like to eat animals. I want animals to live, so I eat vegan chicken or vegan cheeseburgers. All he did was he kept asking me questions. Oh, you know, what kind of plants? How do they make it look like that? How do they make it taste like that? And he's only 6 years old, but he's very bright. And I just explained everything to him, you know, as calmly as I could. And I didn't say, you know, it's different when you talk to adults versus when you talk to a child. You know, I don't just tell him what happens to animals in animal agriculture. You know, I just say simply that cheeseburger comes from a cow. A chicken nugget is made from chicken. And he already knew that. He might not have said it directly, but he knew by looking at hamburgers and cheeseburgers and chicken tenders, you know, cut up chicken, that he knew that it came from a chicken. So I just think that a lot of people should have these conversations with their kids, you know, and even if you are vegan and you get pressured by society or family members or whoever to feed your kid whatever they feel like they should be fed, you know, you should stick to your morals and stick to the way that you want to raise your kids and have that conversation with them, because when they get to a certain point, they are smart enough to understand and to have a conversation with you and better understand, what exactly, where, I guess not what, but where exactly their food comes from and what it takes to get that food. You ease them into a conversation and you just be truthful with them. I find it interesting that a lot of people will say that vegans force their diets on people and live and let live. Why are you trying to tell me what to eat? But when I look at my son, and when I look at what I went through growing up into an adult, it's not my parents' fault. It's not their fault because they were taught from their parents, right? And so on and so on. It's generational. What we eat this because it has protein. We eat that because we need vitamin C or vitamin D. There's a lot that has been told to us over the years through consumerism and marketing and a bunch of other reasons as to why these commercials and why these guidelines are pushed on us, right? Whether it comes to when it mostly comes to nutrients and stuff like that, right? And what is considered healthy, right? But what I'm trying to say is have a conversation with your children. If it's not good enough to tell them where the food comes from, then maybe it's not good enough to feed to them. I think that the majority of kids, if they knew what it took to have a chicken nugget or have a cheeseburger, they might be turned off by it. And that's not on you to feel like, oh, I should hide that from them because the convenience of getting chicken nuggets. Why don't you just look for alternatives where your child who has expressed feeling sad that animals are being killed for food, that there are alternatives out there and you can still have the same thing, but just it not involve animal exploitation, So I don't know. I've been thinking about that for a while and I wanted to talk about it. And I was thinking, there's not something that people particularly talk about. And I know there are a lot of people who are vegans. And one of the hardest thing about being vegan, it's easy to do it for yourself. Because if you have, actually it's not easy, but it's so much easier when it's for you, right? If you are vegan and you believe in something and you have the pressures of your family members and your friends judging you because, oh, you don't eat animals and, oh, that's weird and now you're a vegan and all those things that we all typically deal with when we're vegan. It's so much harder when you have a child involved, right? Because you start to feel like society is trying to say that you're a bad parent because you don't give your kid this XYZ. You don't give your kid the protein that comes from meats because they need that, or the vitamin C that comes from cow's milk because they need it. Or even, how could you not buy your son a cake for their birthday? It's their special day. They should get that. My son had a blast on his birthday. And I'm sure he's not gonna forget the places that we took him, the food that we ate, the presents we gave him, all the cool stuff that we did on his birthday. That leaves me content as a parent. And I'm 100% sure that he's not gonna grow up through his life and feel like, oh, I never got cake for my birthday, because we made sure that everything we had that weekend was vegan, that was not involved or did not come from animal exploitation. And he would never notice. He wouldn't even know. So I don't know. I hope that sort of rant helps vegan parents or even non-vegan people, if it encourages you to, consider what you feed your kids and consider how it would make them feel if they knew, and that it's just as easy as grabbing something else at the grocery store. We have tons of options out there. It's unnecessary, and I hope that helps you guys. So that's all I wanted to say. I appreciate everybody that left a like and watched my most recent video. It took a lot of work. I'm working on another one or another type of video like that in the upcoming days or upcoming week. I'm trying to get the ball rolling again and get back on track as far as uploading content and stuff like that. So I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate all the people that actually engage and leave comments on my videos. Even if you're not vegan and you have something to say, express yourself and we can start a conversation and have a dialogue and be respectful towards each other. So once again, I appreciate all of you for listening to this video and listening to my rant, and I'll see you next time.